But it's not a point, it's a moral truth, isn't it?
Okay, yeah. It was also a moral truth that the war started because 1,300 Jews were killed and 200 were taken hostage. And when you declare war on Israel, expect a firestorm in reaction. Let me finish, I let you talk.
And this is Kirk at the University of Cambridge doing a debate, and a child here who looks a little bit like a deranged hobbit. If a hobbit was on meth, this is what you'd get. And he asked him about Israel and Hamas. So this is meth hobbit versus Charlie Kirk.
Let me ask you, in the conflict of Israel versus Hamas, who's the good guy?
I believe both Hamas and the Israeli government are evil, but I think also that there is no justification.
Are they equally?
There is no justification for the murder and mutilation of thousands of innocent people and children in a futile...
Let's zero in on it.
There is no justification, Mr. Kirk, for invading hospitals, for bombing innocent populations and dragging out a war which is damaging Israel and the West's security.
You've made that point, but...
Well, it's not a point, it's a moral truth, isn't it?
Okay, yeah. It was also a moral truth that the war started because 1,300 Jews were killed and 200 were taken hostage. And when you declare war on Israel, expect a firestorm in reaction. Let me finish, I let you talk. Israel, at its holiest day of the calendar year besides Yom Kippur and Rosh Hashanah, Samat Torah, the 50-year anniversary of the Six-Day War. On Shabbat, Hamas invaded Israel, deciding to go recklessly to music concerts, to homes, to kibbutzes, and taking 200 plus hostages. They knew what they were doing. In one of the most cloistered urban environments on the planet, 2 million people live in a place where it's impossible to wage war. Impossible. Where they wear civilian clothing, they violate every tenet of the Geneva Convention, and the IDF, when they do something right, they get no credit. When they do life-saving surgeries of a Gazan child, they get no credit. When they drop leaflets, they get no credit. But when they happen to bomb a place where they are operating their military from, which we now know from third-party verified sources, hundreds of Hamas military operations are in mosques, schools, and hospitals. I'm sorry, the country where they were living in relative peace on October 6th, that all of a sudden we had a war and Hamas started the war. And I don't see people that were really upset about the 2 million Germans that were killed in World War II, civilians. A tragic truth of war is that civilians die. I don't like it and you don't like it. And they brought it upon themselves. The only operation and entity to blame is the leadership of Hamas, not the Israeli government, for fighting this defensive war after they were invaded. There is a good guy and there is a bad guy. I honestly...
Isn't that the morality of a child?
Well, hold on. It's interesting you say that, because a child who knows that Israel is the good guy, Hamas is bad, has a lot more wisdom than a student like yourself at Cambridge University.
Charlie Kirk, 1, meth hobbit 0. I would just also Charlie, he just is great, and I just love, it's a weird thing being in the business that I'm in, where after all these years, it's like I see some people that I know that I thought were great, and they've kind of become not great, or they disappear. Sometimes good people disappear, sometimes bad people kind of rise. Like, there's all mixes of it, and any of you can make your judgment on how my career has gone. But Charlie has just consistently, I think, just been on the right side of things and fought hard and hard and hard. And it's not easy to do all the time. And okay, so credit there. But I would also say to the meth hobbit and he was very fidgety too, because you get because a hobbit doesn't need much meth, you know what I mean? They need a half dose. But I would also say to the meth hobbit, if you're, let's say you were in the Shire with your hobbit family, and a bunch of jihadists broke in and they raped your hobbit sister and they murdered your hobbit mother, and then they kidnapped your hobbit father, and then they burned down the rest of the Shire and all that, and they brought a couple, your kidnapped sister and everything, and they brought them over to this other place, and then they buried them underground, and then they kept schools on top of it and everything. Well, meth hobbit, what do you think the proper reaction would be? There actually would be no more moral thing than for you guys to save your people. A nation state exists to defend its people. A nation state does not exist to defend other people. So you got to get that in your head, meth hobbit.